In a world where knowledge is power, our ability to study effectively and retain information is crucial. Join us on a journey into the fascinating world of the mind as we unravel the mysteries behind studying and discover techniques to boost our learning capabilities. During the process of learning, significant transformations occur within your brain, leading to the formation of new connections among your neurons. This phenomenon, known as neuroplasticity, describes the brain's remarkable ability to change by creating, strengthening, weakening, or dismantling these neural connections. With increased practice, these connections grow stronger and more resilient. As a result, the transmission of messages between neurons becomes progressively faster, leading to enhanced efficiency. The mechanism applies to any skill you acquire, be it playing football, reading, drawing, or other endeavors. To illustrate this concept, we can draw a parallel between the connections in your brain and trails within a forest. Navigating an unmarked path in a forest proves challenging as you must compact and push aside vegetation and branches to forge ahead. However, as you repeatedly travel the same trail, it becomes easier and more accessible. Conversely, if you cease to use the trail, the vegetation regenerates, gradually erasing the path. This closely mirrors what occurs in your brain. When you discontinue practicing a particular skill, the connections between your neurons weaken and may ultimately be dismantled or pruned. Consequently, resuming reading at the start of the school year after a summer hiatus may present difficulty. However, it's worth noting that certain neural networks can develop such resilience that the trails or connections never fully disappear. Everyone has his or her unique learning style and preference. Experimenting with different techniques and adapting them to suit your needs is key to maximizing your learning potential. There are many things that can get in the way of efficient learning, such as difficulties concentrating, poor time management, and lack of proper learning techniques. How the student mind works while studying. The student mind is a complex system that can vary from person to person, but there are some general principles that can help understand how it works while studying, such as attention, memory, understanding, motivation, and metacognition. Effective studying requires the ability to focus and direct attention while filtering out distractions. Attention is a limited resource that can be easily disrupted, so creating a conducive studying environment and employing techniques like time management and minimizing distractions are important. Studying involves encoding information into memory and later retrieving it, with techniques such as active engagement and spaced repetition, enhancing memory consolidation. To truly understand concepts, students need to connect new information to existing knowledge and engage in active learning strategies like asking questions and solving problems. Motivation plays a significant role in studying, while intrinsic motivation being more effective than extrinsic motivation. Setting clear goals, breaking tasks into manageable chunks, and finding relevance in the material can enhance motivation. Metacognitive skills, including planning, monitoring progress, and evaluating learning strategies, are important for successful studying. Reflecting on strengths and weaknesses and adjusting study techniques accordingly can help optimize performance. It's important to note that every individual has their own learning style and preferences. Some students may benefit from visual aids, while others may prefer auditory or kinesthetic approaches. Understanding one's own learning style can help tailor study techniques to maximize effectiveness. Time management. Improving time management skills can greatly improve and benefit students in their academic performance. Some strategies for better time management include: Number 1, setting clear objectives. Students should define themselves short and long-term goals for their studies. Having clear objectives helps students prioritize their tasks and to allocate their time accordingly. Number 2, making a schedule. Creating daily, weekly, as well as monthly schedules that includes all commitments made, such as classes, study times, extracurricular activities, personal obligations. Students are suggested to use a planner, calendar, or a digital tool to organize their schedule effectively. Number 3, prioritizing tasks. Students are encouraged to identify the most important and urgent tasks, prioritizing them based on deadlines, importance, and impact on academic performance. Focusing on completing high-priority tasks first to ensure work is accomplished on time. 4, breaking tasks into smaller steps. Large projects or assignments can be overwhelming for students, leading to procrastination. Breaking them into smaller, more manageable tasks makes them less daunting, less overwhelming, and easier to tackle within the available time. 5. Setting realistic deadlines. Students should set themselves appropriate deadlines for each task or subtask that they must complete. One must be realistic about the time required to complete them, considering abilities and other commitments. To set realistic deadlines, students must avoid overcommitting and leaving tasks until the last minute. 6. Try to avoid multitasking. While it may seem efficient, multitasking will often lead to decreased productivity and reduced focus. Instead, students should concentrate on one task at a time, completing it before moving on to the next task. This approach of avoiding multitasking improves concentration as well as the quality of one's work. 7. Minimize distractions. Identify and minimize potential distractions during study or work sessions. Turn off or silence notifications on electronic devices. Find a quiet study environment, and use website blockers or apps to limit access to distracting websites or social media. 8. Practice effective study techniques. Adopt study techniques that maximize learning efficiency, such as active learning, summarizing, self-quizzing, and spaced repetition. These methods help you make the most of your study time and retain information effectively. Effective time management is a skill that takes practice and consistency. Students must be patient with themselves and must remain committed to implementing these strategies. With time, students will develop stronger time management habits and improve their ability to manage their academic workload effectively. Concentration. Improving concentration is a skill that can be developed with practice and the adoption of certain strategies. Here are some techniques that can help students enhance their ability to concentrate. 1. Creating a conducive study environment. To create a conducive studying environment, students must find a quiet and comfortable place, one that is free from distractions, minimizing noise, turning off notifications on electronic devices, and ensuring that one has all the necessities within reach. 2. Managing time effectively. Break study sessions into smaller, more manageable chunks of time, setting specific goals for each session, and use techniques such as the Pomodoro technique to maintain concentration and to prevent burnout. 3. Using active learning techniques. Passive reading or listening can lead to mind wandering. Instead, students should engage actively with the material by taking notes, summarizing key points, asking questions, or discussing concepts with others. Active involvement increases engagement and helps sustain focus. 4. Eliminate or manage distractions. Identify common distractions that tend to derail your concentration, such as social media, noise, or hunger. Minimize or eliminate these distractions as much as possible. Consider using website blockers or apps that limit access to distracting websites during study sessions. 5. Take regular breaks. Taking short breaks during study sessions can enhance concentration. It allows the student's mind to rest and recharge. Using breaks to stretch, take a short walk, or engage in a brief activity that helps clear one's mind. 6. Practice self-discipline and build habits. Consistency is key. Make a commitment to follow a study routine and stick to it. Over time, with practice and repetition, concentration and focus will improve as your mind becomes accustomed to the study habits you've established. Improving concentration is a gradual process. It may require experimentation to find the right techniques that work best for oneself. Being patient and persistent, students should not get discouraged if they experience occasional lapses in focus. With time and practice, one can develop better concentration skills. Study techniques. While study techniques work differently for different people, one must figure out which technique fits best the work they are doing, as well as their own learning style and needs. A few learning techniques that have been proven to work include the Feynman technique, the Pomodoro technique, mind mapping, spaced repetition, and the SQ3R method. The Feynman technique. Choose a concept to learn. Select a topic you're interested in learning about and write it at the top of a blank page in a notebook. Teach it to yourself or someone else. Write everything you know about that topic as if you were explaining it to yourself. Alternatively, teaching it to someone else. Return to the source material if you get stuck. go back to whatever you're learning from, a book, lecture notes, podcast, and fill the gaps in your knowledge. Simplify your explanations and create analogies. Streamline your notes and explanation, further clarifying the topic until it seems obvious. Additionally, think of analogies that feel intuitive. How the Feynman technique works. Often, we don't realize we don't understand something until it's too late. Maybe you're facing down a question on an exam, or someone asks you to explain a topic you thought you understood, and suddenly, your mind goes blank. When you're asked to demonstrate your knowledge outside of your own head, you realize you knew a lot less than you thought. The Feynman technique doesn't let us fool ourselves into thinking we're masters of a subject when we're really amateurs. Each step of the process forces us to confront what we don't know, engage directly with material, and clarify our understanding. The Pomodoro Technique. The Pomodoro Technique is a time management method based on 25-minute stretches of focused work broken by 5-minute breaks. Longer breaks, typically 15 to 30 minutes, are taken after 4 consecutive work intervals. Each work interval is called a Pomodoro. The core process serves as the foundation for achieving the Pomodoro Technique in a sustainable way. It defines the following 5 steps for staying focused on the task at hand throughout the day. Number 1. Choose a task for the current Pomodoro. Number 2. Set the timer to 25 minutes. Number 3. Work on the task until the timer sounds, then record completion of the Pomodoro. Number 4. Take a short break. Start with 5 minutes, but know that it can be as little as 2 minutes. Number 5. After 4 Pomodoro, take a longer break. This is generally 15 to 30 minutes. Mind mapping. Mind mapping was developed as an effective method for generating ideas by association. In order to create a mind map, you usually start in the middle of the page with the central theme or main idea, and from that point out, work outward in all directions to create a growing diagram composed of keywords, phrases, concepts, facts, and figures. It can be used for assignments and essay writing, especially in the initial stages, where it is an ideal strategy to use for your thinking. Mind mapping can be used for generating, visualizing, organizing, note-taking, problem-solving, decision-making, revising, and clarifying your university topic, so that you can get started with assessment tasks. Essentially, a mind map is used to brainstorm a topic, and is a great strategy for students. You can use mind mapping for the following. Number 1. Taking notes in a lecture and listening for the most important points or keywords. Number 2. Showing links and relationships between the main ideas in your subject. Number 3. Brainstorming all the things you already knew about an essay question. Number 4. Planning the early stages of an essay by visualizing all the aspects of the question. Number 5. Organizing your ideas and information by making it accessible on a single page. Number 6. Stimulating creative thinking and creative solutions to problems. Number 7. Reviewing learning in preparation for a test or examination. Spaced repetition. Spaced repetition is a method of reviewing material at systematic intervals. At the beginning of the learning process, the intervals are spaced closely together. For example, 1 hour, 4 hours, 1 day. As the material is reviewed, the intervals become systematically longer. 4 days, 1 week, 2 weeks. An ideal system of spaced repetition allows you to review the material before it is forgotten, helping you to retain it in your long-term memory. Spaced repetition is in many ways the opposite of cramming. Rather than learning information in a short time period, which can lead to quick forgetting, spaced repetition focuses on long-term retention of new information. For example, if you learned material from a textbook chapter in the first week of the semester, you would want to review it on a regular schedule, perhaps the 2nd, 4th, 8th, and last weeks of the semester in order to retain the information in your long-term memory. Now, how is spaced repetition effective? Repeatedly encountering material at a spaced interval is more effective than reviewing that material multiple times in the same study session. Spaced repetition reduces the forgetting that occurs when material is not encountered for a significant time period. Spaced repetition involves actively recalling learned material, which supports learning. Also, if an item is forgotten, you are prompted to use a more effective learning strategy to retain the information for later reviews. The SQ3R method. SQ3R is a reading comprehension method named for its 5 steps: survey, question, read, recite, and review. Now let's break these steps down into their individual parts. Starting with survey. Gather the information necessary to focus and formulate your goals. Read the title, help your mind prepare to receive the subject at hand. Read the introduction and orient yourself to how each chapter fits the author's purpose, and focus on the author's statement of most important points. Then notice each boldface heading and subheading. Organize your mind before you begin to read and build a structure for the thoughts and details to come. Next, notice any graphics, charts, maps, diagrams, or anything there to help make that point. Don't overlook them. Notice reading aids, italics, boldface print, chapter objective, and end of chapter questions, which are all included to help you sort, comprehend, and remember. Second step is question. This is where you help your mind engage and concentrate. Turn the boldface heading for each section into as many questions as you think will be answered in that section. The better the questions, the better your comprehension is likely to be. You may always add further questions as you proceed. When your mind is actively searching for answers to questions, it becomes engaged in learning. The third step is to read. This is where you'll fill in the information around the mental structures you've been building. Read one section at a time with your questions in mind and look for the answers. Recognize when you need to make up some new questions. Number 4 is recite. Retrain your mind to concentrate and learn as it reads. After each section, stop and recall your questions and see if you can answer them from memory. If not, look back at the text again, and as often as necessary. But don't move to the next section until you can recite the answers from the previous one. And the last step is review. Refine your mental organization and begin building memory. Once you've finished the entire chapter using the preceding steps, go back over the questions you created for every heading. See if you can still answer them. If not, look back and refresh your memory, and then continue. As we've explored the science behind studying, we've witnessed the incredible power of the human mind. But we must understand that no two minds are alike, which is why one must consider their own learning needs to better equip themselves with the optimal tools. So let's embrace our journey of learning and unleash the true potential within us.